My opponent states that California should raise the driving age to 18. Her supporting points are A, 16-year-olds are children, B, when you're 18 you're considered an adult and to be awarded with the responsibility of driving, and C, having all the drivers on the road be 18 and older will make the roads less hazardous and save more lives. However, I'm here to say that we should not raise the driving age because A, 16-year-olds understand the risk of driving and the dangers that can be caused by it. B, 16-year-olds can be responsible enough to drive, and C, police enforcement can make the roads safer. I will first begin with my opponent's significant claim that stated, in California, 1 in 5 teens will have an accident within the first 6 months of passing their driver's test. I would like to point out that she did not cite the statistical remark. In other words, this isn't evidence, but just her own remark, and that raising the driving age will not make the roads a safer place that would supposedly save thousands of lives. I will now talk to you about her first point, that 16-year-olds are children. However, 16-year-olds understand the risk of driving and the dangers that can be caused by it. She uses a piece of evidence that is generally about a part of a teen's brain that is responsible for weighing risk and making judgments, which is fully developed at the age of 21. This may be factually true. However, this doesn't mean that 16-year-olds aren't capable of weighing risk and making judgments. According to the Washington Post, from 2002 to 2011, the number of novice teenagers in fatal accidents dropped by 60%. This means teenagers do understand that cars are a deadly weapon and have been driving safer over the past years. My opponent's next point is, when you're 18, you're considered an adult and can be awarded with the responsibility of driving. She uses evidence that states young people are 4 more times likely to die in a road accident rather than result from drinking or doing drugs. Yet she does not provide any numerical data. According to the website dmv.ca.gov, in 2008 there were 593 total crash fatalities in California, and there are approximately 844,800 young drivers in the U.S. Now, if you divide 593 by the 844,800 drivers, it turns out to be 0.7% of the young drivers in California have been in fatality crashes. So if you multiply 0.7% by 4, it is only 7.8%, not really much of a big difference. My opponent also talks about having the driving age raised to 18 so that teenagers would have an extra 2 years of training with a permit. We should, though, just keep the driving age at 16 because teens would then be required to pass the driving test that everyone must take in order to receive a license. This could prove whether or not the teen is more than capable of driving amongst other adults and that have as well passed the DMV driving test. So there's no point in taking that away from teenagers. Since the current system already works in weeding out the majority of bad drivers who do not deserve a license, there would be no point in implementing her idea of raising the driving age. My opponent then basically states that teenagers are responsible because they are trying to be cool and partake in dangerous actions that can result in making the roads hazardous or even cause death from texting, drinking, or being irresponsible by not wearing a seatbelt. And it's not necessary for teens to have a license till they are 18. She uses evidence that relates to numbers of deaths caused by texting and drinking that are about 500 deaths. Also, that having a passenger or passengers increases the risk of fatalities of 16 and 17-year-old drivers to 40% or more. However, this is just numbers. It's not realistically show how punitive it is, and it doesn't make a difference in making the road safer by taking out teenage drivers. As I have previously shown that the fatalities of 15-year-olds through to 20-year-olds are about 0.7% of young drivers in the U.S. So So the 500 deaths is out of 844,800 young drivers, and 40% increase of the 0.7% would just be 2.8%. And according to the teensdriversource.org, teens will more frequently associate seatbelt use with a safe driver rather than the good driver. Generally speaking, teenage drivers understand that they should always wear a seatbelt. In turn, these issues are not significant enough for change of raising the driving age to be needed. The system that we currently have is more than efficient enough to make the roads safer from hazardous drivers, including the so-called mindless teenagers that my opponent sees them as. The system I'm referring to is our current police force, our current police enforcement on the roads. According to the Temecula Patch.com, Temecula police issued 90 citations Wednesday when they conducted a high visibility traffic enforcement along Rancho California roads. Among the 90 citations issued Wednesday were violations ranging from speeding to red light running. This shows that our current system is more than capable of weeding out other potentially bad drivers that have passed the driving test somehow. This includes teenagers from the road. So raising the driving age to 18 does not really make the road safer, because the policies are the polices are the ones who are actually making it safer already. To conclude, raising the driving age does not make the road significantly safer. For our current system already does that for everyone who drives. And by leaving the driving age the way it is would allow other teenagers to take the DMV driving test, proving whether or not they are just as capable of driving on the roads just as any other adult, any other adult.